Anfield, England, May 7, 2019. Back when Shakira hadn't yet dedicated an entire album to Piqué after their breakup, she was still watching his games and even filming her reactions. But as we all know, their relationship ended badly, though not as badly as the match that day. It was the second leg of a Champions League semi-final, a tie everyone thought was already wrapped up.
¿Sabes por qué estoy tranquilo? Porque juega Messi, eso es lo más importante.
Todos los jugadores del Barça tienen ahí metido un poco de psicosis con el tema de Roma. Pero mira cómo reaccionan ahora.
Mira cómo reaccionan.
Yo digo que el Liverpool no le gana ni a un segunda división de España.
But the few optimistic fans had a point. Liverpool came into the game 3-0 down, without Mo Salah, without Bobby Firmino, and with Divock Origi starting up front. Barcelona came into that match just 3 games away from a treble, the second leg against Liverpool, a potential Champions League final, and the Copa del Rey final. It looked like everything was in the bag. They were already checking out hotels in Madrid for the final. On the other side, Liverpool needed 4 goals. 4 without their best forwards against a team that had Messi, Suarez, Busquets, Piqué, and maybe, to some people's relief, no Dembélé, who was injured and watching the game from home because, well, we all remember how that counter-attack ended at the Camp Nou. But Barcelona forgot the most important detail. Never ever underestimate an English team at home, especially if that home is called Anfield. Unless, you are PSG and your penalty taker is Darwin. The match kicked off with Liverpool pressing at a pace that even Messi seemed surprised by. Not even 10 minutes had passed when Jordi Alba decided to give the ball to Mane, who passed it to Henderson. He shot it with the precision of Dembélé at Camp Nou. Only this time, Ter Stegen wasn't in Alisson mode and spilled the rebound right to Origi, who, with more instinct than technique, buried it. And there he was, Divock Origi, the backup striker, scoring the opener. Anfield erupted. And right then, Barcelona remembered something that felt all too familiar. The ghost of last year in Rome started creeping into the minds of several players when they were knocked out after a stunning comeback. Origi celebrated harder than Grealish after winning the Champions League, and who wouldn't? He was playing a Champions League semi-final and had just scored against Barcelona. 2 minutes later, Mane went down in the box, calling for a penalty, but the referee gave Barça a breather. The one who didn't give them a break was Fabinho, who stayed on Suarez like glue. And for once, it seemed like Suarez wasn't going to be the one doing the biting that night. Finally, Barcelona caught their breath, and thanks to the only player who seemed capable of slowing the Anfield storm, they created a couple of chances. Liverpool had grit and determination, but they were missing that spark of creativity to finish their chances. The kind of creativity that maybe Mo or Bobby could have provided, but now they could only watch from the stands, visibly worried. The magic of Anfield hadn't fully arrived yet, though Robertson was already signaling that this game wasn't going to end quietly. By the end of the first half, Messi and Jordi Alba nearly gave Liverpool fans a heart attack with 2 dangerous plays, but in the end, neither one found the net. It had been a strange first half for Barcelona. Sure, they had a couple of chances to score, but Liverpool were pressing harder and not letting them build anything easily. That in itself was odd. After all, Liverpool was supposed to be missing their biggest stars. The only thing left was Darwin Núñez to show up on the team sheet. In the dressing room, Barcelona knew things weren't right, even if they tried to act calm on the pitch. The second half began with what looked like an insignificant substitution. Wijnaldum came on for the injured Robertson. Nothing suggested that the Dutchman was about to turn into a demigod for 5 minutes. But that's exactly what happened. The match stayed on the same script, Liverpool attacking relentlessly, Barcelona sitting back, hoping to end it with a Messi or Suarez counter, but just 5 minutes in, Ter Stegen was already being tested, and Alisson was answering at the other end too. At the 54th minute, Jordi Alba, who by this point looked like Liverpool's 12th man, lost the ball. A low cross from Alexander-Arnold came flying in, and Jorginho came charging like a freight train and smashed it in the second.
Can't you go 5 seconds without humiliating yourself?
Barcelona started to wobble, and it wasn't just the goal. It was that gut-sinking feeling you get when you hand in an exam and everyone's arguing whether the answer was 6 or 8, and you didn't even realize there were questions on the back of the page. Still processing the second? Too late. 2 minutes later, another play down the left, this time with Shaqiri sending in the cross. Jorginho rose with authority and headed into the top corner. Goal. Liverpool's third. The tie was level. Even Shakira wouldn't have believed it. Barcelona was no longer a team. It was just a bunch of guys in the same shirt, running around with no idea where to go. Gerard, watching from the stands, could only applaud the miracle unfolding before him, just like the one he led in 2005 against Milan, also in a Champions League night. Barcelona's only hope now was Messi, and every time he touched the ball, something still felt possible. But on the other end stood Alisson, and that night, the ball just wasn't going in. And then, just when it seemed like extra time was inevitable, came the final blow. Liverpool had a corner, everyone was getting into position, Ter Stegen was shouting instructions, lifting spirits, the photographers were adjusting the lenses, commentators settling into their chairs, everyone was getting ready, except Alexander-Arnold. He walked up to the corner flag, pretended to walk away, came back in a split second, and whipped in a low cross to the near post. Origi, who probably still didn't realize he was about to make history, smashed it into the net. Goal. Anfield erupted. No one understood what had just happened, and how could they? A street-style goal in a Champions League semi-final. Barcelona's defense looked more lost than Manchester United post-Ferguson. It was the most humiliating goal Barcelona had conceded in recent memory, not because it was some masterpiece of build-up, but because it was a schoolyard corner, the kind of goal you yell about more because of how absurd it is than how beautiful. And yet, it was perfect. In that moment, as Liverpool fans screamed themselves hoarse and hugged each other, Barcelona looked like a group of dazed tourists. Messi, the same Messi who had produced magic in the first leg, was now chasing Fabinho in desperation, committing a foul in stoppage time. A few minutes later, final whistle. Liverpool had done it again. Anfield was the only place where miracles like this could happen. And Klopp, the only human capable of bleeding pure madness with German precision, could only stand there, applauding the crowd as they applauded him back. On the other side, the most replayed image was Messi, staring at the ground, hands on his head. Barcelona had just signed off on their second consecutive European tragedy. Rome still stung, but this was different, more brutal. This time, they simply got steamrolled. Liverpool, meanwhile, had just booked their ticket to the second straight Champions League final, and even though no one knew yet whether they would win it or not, no one cared. "You'll Never Walk Alone" had never sounded louder.